Have you ever wondered if you can turn your extra Pokemon cards into cash without leaving your house? That's exactly what I decided to find out when I challenged myself to sell Pokemon cards on Whatnot for 3 days straight. As someone who had never streamed on the platform before, I had no idea what to expect, but the results genuinely surprised me. In this guide, I'll walk you through my entire experience selling Pokemon cards on Whatnot, from setup to strategies that actually worked, and show you exactly how much money I made with zero streaming experience. The challenge: from zero to seller in 72 hours. So I basically set myself up for a simple challenge: sell Pokemon cards on Whatnot for 3 days in a row and see how much money I can make. I had plenty of cards sitting in my collection that I didn't need, cards that were taking up space, rather than helping me complete and actually get cards that I actually wanted. The beauty of this challenge was that I didn't need any special equipment and I can get started right away. All I needed was my phone, my extra cards, and the willingness to put myself out there on Whatnot. If you've got duplicate cards cluttering your collection, you might be sitting on more potential cash than you realize. What made this experiment particularly interesting was that I went into it completely fresh. I had never used Whatnot before, I had 0 followers, and I did not promote my streams anywhere. Everything I earned came purely from Whatnot's organic traffic, which makes the results even more impressive for anyone who's considering trying this and starting from scratch. Setting up for success, my simple streaming setup. Before going live, I need to prepare my inventory and create a simple but effective streaming setup. I decided to focus exclusively on singles rather than sealed products or rip and ships, since that's what I had available. My setup couldn't have been more basic. My phone was the streaming device. I had a clean background and a wall and shelf that displayed cards worth $5 and above. I also organized stacks of sub $2 cards for quick auctions. Good lighting was also recommended so viewers can actually see the card conditions. And one strategy that worked particularly well was what I called the back wall display, where I arranged my higher value cards, $5 and above, on the wall behind me, which served 2 important purposes. It gave viewers something interesting to look at throughout the stream, and it created anticipation for the premium cards I'd auction later. I also made sure to place a note on my Whatnot profile stating that the back wall cards started at market price. This set clear expectations and prevented lowball offers on my better cards. The back wall display became my secret weapon for keeping viewers engaged, and they'd stick around through the cheaper card auctions, hoping to get a shot at the premium cards that they spotted in the background. The auction strategy: starting low to build momentum. When it came to actually selling cards, I discovered that starting with lower price items was key to building momentum and attracting bidders. I began most auctions at just $1, which got people engaged immediately, and I created a lower barrier of entry for new viewers just joining the platform. I used what Whatnot calls sudden death auctions for most cards. This means that the timer goes straight from 10 seconds to 0 with no extensions. The last person to bid wins the card. This format keeps things moving quickly and creates a sense of urgency that encourages faster bidding. For my more valuable cards, I occasionally switch to regular auctions where each new bid adds around 3 to 5 seconds to the timer. This format allows the price to climb higher as bidders have more time to jump in, and it's perfect for special cards that deserve a little extra more attention. The most surprising discovery is how quickly things got moving. In my first stream, I sold over 20 cards in just the first hour. The platform's built-in payment processing and shipping label generation made the post-stream logistics really simple and really easy compared to other platforms that I've tried. The engagement secret: keep talking, keep connecting. The biggest challenge for a new streamer isn't setting up or even finding cards to sell. It's keeping the conversation flowing when you're essentially talking to yourself. I quickly learned that dead air is the enemy of a successful Whatnot stream. To keep things lively, I developed a few conversation strategies: welcoming new viewers by their name when they join your stream, asking viewers about their collection goals or favorite Pokemon, discussing upcoming set releases and whether or not people had the opportunity to get pre-orders, sharing stories about how I acquired certain cards, and asking viewers which cards from my back wall they want to see. I found that directly calling out viewers by their usernames was pretty effective when it came to grabbing their attention, and it basically made them feel recognized. Something as simple as, "Hey, welcome to the stream, Pokemaster9. What kind of cards are you collecting right now?" That can turn a passive viewer into an active participant almost instantly. Another engagement tactic that worked really well for me was showing my entire stack of cards at the beginning of the stream and asking viewers to call out anything that caught their eye. So if you could imagine that this right here is my stack of cards for the stream, I would simply just flip through the cards like that very slowly, and I'd be looking at chat, and then once someone says like, "Hey, run this," let's say someone wants me to run this Infernape, okay, this Infernape Hollow, and they say Infernape, I would then stop showing the cards and then I would run the Infernape for $1. What I find that people do as a mistake is that they'll They'll literally auction off every single card at $1, and that takes up a lot of time. It's a lot easier to actually show the stack and then choose some cards that people actually want and then give that out for $1 just to get the stream going. Now, this gave people a sense of what was coming and encouraged them to stick around for specific cards that they wanted. The one-person phenomenon, finding your whale. One of the most fascinating patterns I noticed across all 3 days was what I call the one-person phenomenon. In almost every single stream, a single buyer would emerge and purchase almost like 30 to 40% of my inventory. These whales became the backbone of my sales. This pattern taught me an important lesson for new Whatnot sellers. You don't need dozens of active bidders to have a successful stream. Sometimes all it takes is just one enthusiastic collector who connects with your inventory and personality. I noticed these high volume buyers were often completing specific sets or collections, which is why they were willing to purchase multiple cards in a single stream. By asking their collection goals, I could better understand what they were looking for and help sell them more cards. For anyone nervous about starting on Whatnot with no following, this insight is incredibly encouraging. You don't need to be a social media influencer. You don't need a large following. You just need to connect with the right viewers who are looking exactly for what you're selling. Staying ahead of restocks, a quick word from our sponsor. Now, speaking of staying ahead in the Pokemon world, if you're tired of missing out on restocks or paying inflated prices for Pokemon TCG products, check out PokeNotify, who is kindly sponsoring this video. PokeNotify monitors hundreds of sites worldwide, so you'll know the moment products drop. No more refreshing pages all day, hoping to catch a restock. You can try it free for 3 days, and if you decide to stick with it, use the code PALETPICS25 to get 25% off your first month. The link is down below in the description. Organizing for efficiency, keeping the stream moving. To keep my streams running smoothly, I developed a very simple organization system that made a huge difference in my efficiency. I separated my cards into distinct categories: English cards under $2, Japanese cards under $2, English cards between $2 and $5, Japanese cards between $2 and $5, and then premium cards for the back wall. This organization allowed me to quickly grab the next card to auction without awkward pauses or shuffling through stacks. I could also switch between categories to keep the stream interesting. For example, after selling several low-value English cards, I might switch to Japanese cards or pull something special from the back wall to re-engage viewers. I also made sure to have penny sleeves and top loaders ready for any valuable cards that sold, which showed buyers I cared about proper card protection. These small details build trust with collectors who care deeply about card condition. The key to maintaining momentum was preparation, knowing exactly what cards I had available and having them organized in a way that allowed me to find them anytime someone was looking for a certain card. This preparation paid off in higher engagement and more sales. The results after 3 days. Now, after 3 days of streaming on Whatnot, I tallied up my earnings and was generally shocked by the result. It was $430 after all platform fees. For someone with zero streaming experience who was just selling cards that I didn't need, this felt like an incredible win. What makes this number even more impressive is that many of these cards were ones that I had originally purchased as part of larger collections at around 70% market value. This means my actual profit margin was even higher than it might initially appear. The platform's fee structure, which is around 8 to 10% I believe, was much more reasonable than other selling platforms that I've used before. And this meant more money in my pocket at the end of the day. And since Whatnot handles the payment, processing, and also generates the shipping label, the administrative work on my end was pretty minimal. This experiment proved to me that Whatnot was a viable platform for converting unused cards into cash that I can reinvest into my Pokemon card collection. It's basically becoming another tool in my collecting strategy, allowing me to be more selective of what I keep while still exploring new sets and products. Reinvesting strategically. Turning cards into collection upgrades. Now that I've turned my duplicate cards into $430, I have exciting options for reinvesting in my collection. This money can go directly towards purchasing specific singles that I need, buying more sealed products, or buying collections at below market price. This is where selling on Whatnot becomes a larger part of my collecting strategy. By regularly clearing out duplicates and cards that I don't need, I can create a sustainable cycle. Buy collections at 70% or less market value, keep the cards that I want for my personal collection, sell all the duplicates and unwanted cards on Whatnot, eBay, or locally, and use the profits to buy more collections or specific singles, and then repeat the process. This approach has transformed how I think about collecting. Instead of just accumulating cards, I'm constantly refining my collection, keeping what I love, and converting the rest into resources for future collections. For those interested in finding great deals on collections to fuel this strategy, I have an entire video dedicated to how I buy rare cards worth hundreds of dollars at significant discounts. The methods I share there pair perfectly with selling on Whatnot to create a powerful collecting system. Beyond singles, future Whatnot possibilities. While my 3-day experiment focused exclusively on singles, Whatnot offers several other selling formats that I'm excited to explore in the future. Sealed product auctions, rip and ships where viewers buy packs and then you rip them live on stream and then mail it to them. Then you also have box breaks where viewers buy spots in a booster box opening. You also have mystery bundles, which are curated card packages at different price points. Each of these selling formats has its own appeal and could potentially generate even higher sales than singles alone. As I continue to experiment with the platform, I'll be testing these different approaches in the future to see which works best for my inventory and my audience. Now, the beauty of Whatnot is its flexibility. You can try different selling strategies without any long-term commitment or upfront investment. And this makes it perfect for collectors who want to dip their toes into selling without taking major risks. And if you're interested in trying Whatnot for yourself, getting started is surprisingly simple. You can use my referral link down below in the description, where once you do sign up and make your first few sales, you'll receive up to $150 in match earnings during your first week. Now, the platform's verification process is pretty straightforward, and once approved, you can start streaming and selling almost immediately. The built-in tools make it easy to create listings, manage auctions, and process shipments even if you have no previous selling experience. Now, based on my experience, here are a few quick tips for new Whatnot sellers. First, start with lower value cards to build confidence and engagement and use the platform. 2. Create a visually interesting background with premium cards to keep viewers engaged. 3. Keep talking and engaging with viewers by name. 4. Organize your cards before going live to maintain momentum. And 5. Be honest about card conditions and use good lighting. You want to schedule your streams in advance so Whatnot can promote them, but also remember that your first few streams might be slower as you learn the platform and build your audience. But don't get discouraged. Even as a complete beginner, I was able to generate significant sales through organic traffic alone on Whatnot. Now, what I love most about selling on Whatnot is how it fits into the larger, more sustainable approach to collecting. Instead of just accumulating cards that just sit in storage, I'm constantly refining my collection, keeping what I truly want and value, and converting the rest into resources for future acquisitions. This approach has completely changed how I think about my Pokemon card hobby. It's no longer just about buying and holding, it's about strategic movement, trading up, selling duplicates, and being intentional about what stays in my collection. If you're interested in learning more about how I find great deals on Pokemon cards to fuel this strategy, check out my video, How I Buy Rare Cards Worth Hundreds of Dollars, where I break down my exact methods for finding valuable cards at bargain prices. The techniques I share there work perfectly alongside selling on Whatnot to create a powerful collecting system that can help you build an amazing collection without breaking the bank. And for those who enjoyed this Whatnot experience, I'm planning to try selling sealed products and rip and ships sometime next month or in the next 2 months to compare the results. I'm curious to see which format generates more interest and higher sales, so make sure you're subscribed to catch that follow-up experiment.